Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown.
Fields stumbling, trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown!
Punch on first down, fires downfield. It's Deshaun Jackson back in the lineup. Missed the last 7 games, and he will take it 81 yards. A somersault into the end zone. His first touchdown of the season.
You're listening to The Pigskin Project, the world's #1 football podcast. Now, with more insights on all things football, here are your hosts, Ben Hansen and Ryan Matthews. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Wow, we were flip-flopped. That is not good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Pigskin Project, episode 109, where we are officially 1 week away from the NFL draft as of tomorrow, technically. But if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, we are 1 week away. Very excited. We have a lot to talk about. I'm sure this is going to be a longer podcast.
Positive.
Brace yourselves, because when it comes to weekly news, I did not put a lot of headlines in, strictly because A, there's not a lot of stuff to talk about. B, we got a ton of stuff to talk about later on as far as stuff that is not headlines. So what I did, we likely are not playing Weddle today. I will just tell you that right now. So if you're looking forward to my run that I'm going on right now, hopefully closing the gap, that will happen likely not next week because we're not having an episode next week, but the week after. And then we are not doing our speculation portion of weekly news just because, like I said, lots of stuff to talk about. So here's what we're going to be doing. Weekly news, my guys, and then I've got some bold takes. Not entirely sure if the other guys have bold takes, but I knew that we could probably discuss. And yeah, my guys is probably going to take a while. Just so
my guys is going to take like an hour now. Like it's this, like I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. This will probably be the longest episode we have put out to date. Like
absolutely.
Ryan has gotten really, really big into the draft. Ryan has dug deep into the draft for the first time since we've done the podcast. And you got me and Matt in here. It's just going to be, it's a lot of guys gushing over prospects and stuff.
Yeah.
That being said, Kyle, come on the show, dude. The draft live stream. Let's see what you're doing on the draft live stream.
We'll make it happen, man. Hey, we've been trying to get him on the draft show for like the last 2 years. Fun fact, and he just hasn't happened yet. So where are you at?
I will say, y'all, I am high on life right now. It is great.
Yeah?
It is a great time.
Me too.
The draft is, guys, for the first time in for the first time in probably a month. I'm not slammed with homework, so that's nice. The draft is gonna, like you said, a week away. My 76ers had just beat your Miami Heat, but we're not here for that. We're for football. And guys, Devontae Smith is re-signed, and we'll get to it in a little bit. Yes. But let me tell you guys, it's love this time of year. This time of year. It does not get better than this, y'all.
Hey, and last thing before we bring in our guest, if you follow me on Twitter, you're probably gonna you should like one of my most recent posts.
You should.
I said if the Bears draft one of Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, Marvin Harrison Jr., or Dallas Turner, and my post gets 50 likes, I will jump into Lake Michigan on draft night and post a video of it on my Twitter page. Likely the TikTok page as well. Go and follow me. I'm right here, right underneath my name. You'll see it. Yep, pointing to it right now. Like that post. Give me some follows too. I'm really close to 400. Haven't hit it yet. Fluctuating, super awkward. Because we brought it up last week too. But anyways, Matt. Hey,
hello.
Matt.
Hey.
Welcome back to the Pigskin Project. So I say we just dive right into weekly news. Save each other some time, huh?
Well, real quick, how you doing, Matt? What have you been up to since the last time that you've been on this podcast, which has been like 6 months now? It's been a long time.
I've been in the lab.
I've been in the lab
finding my guys.
As you should.
For today. All right. Yeah, let's get into it. Come on.
Yeah.
We don't have to spend all
what
this
are we
time on
waiting
me.
on? Yeah.
Ryan and Ben bring you weekly news.
And Matt. So O.J. Simpson died. That was the thing that happened. He passed away from cancer.
Wow.
So, that was, he passed away. So, to his family that are mourning him, sending prayers your way. Colts are giving defensive tackle DeForest Buckner a 2-year extension worth $46 million. Good for the Colts. And then this one we're going to spend a little bit more time on because Ben brought it up already, friggin' spoiling my points. Eagles giving superstar wide receiver Devontae Smith a 3-year, $75 million extension, meaning both receivers are getting paid $25 million a year. Ben, how you feeling?
Feeling great. Yeah, I mean, that was the exact contract that I would have expected them to give him. Like, it would have just been hard for them to have paid Devontae Smith more, just because then it would have a lot of controversy and everything would have came from it. A lot of weight has been lifted off my shoulders, man. It is huge. Like, I knew that he was going to be signed. Like, it's just Howie Roseman doesn't let homegrown talent, walk out the building. But, dude, it is, again, he's my favorite player now on this team. It is really, really great to have him back. Like we had said before in the podcast, Jalen Hurts has no excuse to be not in the top 5 QBs this year. We'll leave it at that.
What's left on your checklist for the offseason?
Honestly, the last thing that's like pretty much everything's been checked off, but the 2 big things is getting a cornerback here in the first round. And I'm sure we'll be talking about some cornerbacks today. And by the end of the draft, if we don't get and this is a big if we don't get a safety in the first 2 rounds, go out and get Justin Simmons.
There you go.
I can't believe he is still on the market. It is actually kind of wild to me that he's still on the market.
Me too. I think we were talking about this off air at some point within the last week for sure, just about Justin Simmons. This one's fun. I want to get both of your guys' points of view on this. The Browns bringing back the white face masks. It's a very, very small change, but it makes that orange pop. What are you guys' thoughts? Matt, start with you.
Couldn't care less.
Matt, you couldn't have said it any better. It's such cool.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm not. I think we should spend more time on the Jets rebrand more than the Browns.
Yes,
and the Broncos in what is it now? 5 days from now, they're releasing their new uniforms.
I had no idea.
4/22 is when they're releasing them.
I mean, we could talk about the Jets. Let me bring this up onto the stream here. Just for those of you that haven't seen the full layout of jerseys, I don't think they're anything special.
They're a fun,
they're like,
yeah, it's a fun little throwback. Like, that's cool, but again, I had jokingly said that if they didn't release anything and they had went into this year with the jerseys, I probably wouldn't have been those are different jerseys.
Yeah,
they're cool jerseys, but I don't think it's anything crazy. Again, the one I'm really excited for is the Texans whenever that one comes out, and the Broncos.
I'm mad about one thing about these things. The NFL completely made it possible for a third helmet. Why are we not bringing back the white Jets helmet? That would look so clean with the jersey that Aaron Rodgers is wearing in that picture. All white. I know, Ben, you're a stickler on all white jerseys because everybody's doing it. But
everyone's white jerseys are fun, but let's not act as if this is something that is a unique thing now. White jerseys were really cool when the Bengals did the Snow Tiger ones, and it was awesome. But everyone's doing white jerseys now. It's cool. It's cool. Everyone's doing the white helmet and white jerseys. Don't get me wrong, but everyone's doing them. It's not as special as what it was when 1 or 2 teams had a white helmet, when half the team has a white helmet.
And then our last point, very brief. Chargers are signing free agent running back J.K. Dobbins to a 1-year deal. And the only reason why I said this, because there are other free agent signings that happened during the last week. But this is one that was really, I guess, significant. So it's for 2 reasons. For one, it's interesting that an Ohio State running back is playing for Jim Harbaugh, and that's who they go and get. And for 2, the reason why it's interesting who they went and got is because they got rid of Austin Eckler and they got somebody else who I would definitely say is more injury prone, and they were saying that they want a running back to fit the mold. So my instant thing is, oh, cool. So the Chargers are going to be drafting a running back. Like
Blake Corum, dude. Come on now.
Yep.
We'll see.
I'm going to be honest though. I'm not like really at all surprised. Like that is the route that like Gus Edwards is the only running back that they had signed. Let's look at it. Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins had both played for the Ravens, as you had mentioned before. And who did they just hire? Who did the Chargers just hire as their OC?
Yeah.
Former Baltimore Ravens OC, Greg Roman. So I'm not surprised that he got in the building and he tried to get some guys that understand his scheme and can at least run it a little bit.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Matt, I'm going to give you a floor to talk on, okay? Just because these weekly news headlines are insignificant. You guys ready for some My Guys? This is the first time that we have done this in the history of the Pigskin Project. So basically, let me explain it, and if I miss out on anything, you guys can correct me. These are basically just our guys that we either A, love to just watch, B, love as a prospect, or C, think are going to absolutely kill it in the league. Did I miss something?
Or guys you're just genuinely higher on than consensus.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So who do you guys want to start with?
Matt's going to start here. Matt's the guest. Matt has wrote like thousands of words here talking about his guys. So I'm pretty sure I know where your first My Guy is going to be. But let's hear it, Matt. Let us know and let the guests know where.
I imagine we're going to do like around the table, right?
Should we go around?
Snake it. We're going to snake it, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Because I don't want to ramble off, guys. Like, and say if you want to maybe ramble off a little, like 2, kind of a combo. I think that's fair, but
I'd say I think that there's going to be a couple people on my list that are also on your guys' lists.
Yeah, if we get overlapping guys, might as well step in too.
Yeah, Matt, kick us off with your first guy though.
We got to start with a bang. I'm going to start with my number 1 defensive player in the entire draft, Byron Murphy, defensive tackle out of the University of Texas. He has a 9.20 RAS, 4.8, 740, 33-inch vert, 7.53 cone, all of this, doing it at 300 pounds. He's only 21 years old, turns 22. The number 1 thing that you notice with Byron Murphy is he explodes off the line of scrimmage. He is a top-notch athlete through and through. He shoots his hands into stance off the line of scrimmage so fast, so explosive, and he has the upper body strength to just drive guards back into the pocket, the lap of the quarterback. It reminds me of someone. He just retired. Not going to say his name because I feel like that's a lofty expectation, but we're not going to say it. But he takes on blocks in the run game with such a solid base and pad level and it's so important to be taught that technique as a young defensive lineman. He already has it. He has real pass rush moves. He pulls down the guard's shoulder and gets to the rip or the club, whichever, and he'll just bull rush you, go right through you, pocket push. And then because, this is a report, I have some cons for him. He has a tendency to stop his feet upon contact, so kind of there's sometimes where the guard gets moving in a pulling way, and he kind of stops to create that contact, create that point of attack contact. He is so athletic that he needs to just keep driving through every single time, and he can do it. He's still a baby in terms of hand usage in the pass during the pass rush. If an experienced O-lineman gets his hand on him, it is an issue. He can be handled. And he's short. He's only 6'1", 6'0", 6'1", but that doesn't stop me from projecting him being amazing in the NFL because of his athleticism.
I'll start out. You're a better man than I am. I'm not listing any cons on my guys. You guys are more than welcome to step in and be like, "Oh, I'm concerned about this," but I'm not listing any cons on my guys. We're here to only pump up the draft stock in my guys. But in terms of Byron Murphy, the big thing, he does a lot of things well. And you, again, had made a lofty player. I don't say player comparison, but
I didn't say his name. You
didn't say his name, and I won't say his name either. But you had made a lofty one. One more realistic is Grady Jarrett, and then it's the one that's thrown out around a lot. Yeah. But it would make a lot of sense too, especially with his. I wouldn't at all be shocked if he gets taken 8. If they stay there, the Falcons stay there and take him. Yep. But the number one thing that stood out to me and shocked me about Byron Murphy when I had watched him, everyone has talked about how good of a 3-tech he is. Because like you said, for all the reasons that you said, he's going to come in and he's going to be a really, really good 3-tech. But it shocked me and surprised me how often he ended up playing
at nose
with T'Vondre Sweat being there.
Yep.
Like you would not, that would be like you would think T'Vondre Sweat would be playing a lot of nose.
And I think it was a way to create, because of course T'Vondre Sweat won the Outland, the lineman of the year.
Yeah.
I think it was a way to create one-on-ones for Sweat.
Yeah.
But like Byron Murphy, he didn't lose a step. Like he's 40, 50 pounds lighter at Sweat's biggest and his biggest. So yeah, and there wasn't much of a difference.
No, it wasn't. It shocked me. And again, I think that goes back to, like you were saying, his ability to take on double teams. It's actually like his ability to take on double teams and kind of drop that anchor and not that I want him playing a nose, but like it is very.
He can do it. He can do it. It's only a plus if you can do it.
And exactly, it's a plus that he can do it, and that really speaks volumes of how well he will hopefully hold up against a run as a 3-tech in the NFL. And it's going to be a lot of fun. He held up against the run. I know a lot of people are big fans of Johnny Newton, and this isn't like Johnny Newton is bad. But like the big thing about Johnny Newton is the big thing about Johnny Newton is he doesn't hold up against the run as well as what Byron Murphy does. So I'm all there.
The Johnny Newton and Byron Murphy comparison comes down to, do you want the freak show athlete, or do you want the kind of nuanced football IQ D lineman? And that's what Johnny Newton is. I want Byron Murphy because I feel like the arrogance of the NFL draft is, I could teach him what to do. I could teach him. He could put it all together. So that's why he's my number one guy on the defensive end.
Yeah, I like that. Ryan, do you have anything to say about Byron Murphy?
I mean, he's not on my list because I only put 10 guys on my list. I think if the Bears,
if he goes 9, would you be happy? Because I think that's in play.
Yeah,
y'all need a 3-tech.
I think that I'd be happy about it. I think here. Let me just clarify this before we get too deep into this, because obviously there's a lot of guys that I think that I'd be okay with the Bears. Here's the thing: I'm a Bears fan. So I get delusional.
What?
If you guys have listened to this podcast before or just talked to me in general, I've gotten pretty delusional about it. So let me tell you this. I did not like the Darnell Wright pick on night, like literally minutes after it happened. But like a week afterwards, I was like, oh, dude, Darnell Wright, man, I'm excited. This is what we needed, blah, blah, blah. So no matter who we pick at 9, or if we trade back, or if we trade up, no matter who it is, I'm going to be ecstatic about it later on. My draft reactions are why you should listen to the draft show if that's something that you're interested in next week. But it's tough for me to just be like, oh no, I wouldn't like this guy, because it's like I would like probably like I talked myself into Griffin Dexter last year in the second round, and I was like, this is gonna be great. Like, if we get Byron Murphy, cool. If we draft a left tackle, like, cool. Like, it doesn't matter to me.
You'll talk yourself into whoever it is.
I'll tell you this much.
Be honest.
Yes. So, I mean, my last point about it, because this is my guys and not Bears talk. At the end of the day, it's going to be a Bear. And this is in a crazy situation to be in, a crazy fortunate situation to be in, and I'm thankful to be in it. We're going to get 2 blue chip players, and I can't wait. But specifically on Byron Murphy, it's a 3-tech, like you said. That's exactly what we need. I think he would be a beast in Eberflus's system. My only question is who would fill the other edge spot on the opposite side, and I believe that this would potentially be fixed, through free agency if needed, or whatever it is. But it'll be fine. Like if you get a guy on one side of your line, you get a beast on the inside of your line, and then it's like, you're almost done. Like, you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting. But yeah, I would not be opposed to that move. I'd be cool with it. My if you want my initial reaction to it, if that's what you're asking for, I think I'd be fine, but it's not going to be as excited as like a Roma Dunze if he's there. Like I'm telling you, I might jump up and down. Like
that was a long way of saying if we pick him, it's a B pick in my mind.
Essentially, yeah. Who's up next?
I'm with you when you say that he's the best defensive player in the class, and I guess will continue.
Okay, awesome, sweet. I feel like I was on an island. I feel like I've been on an island with it.
I like this edge rusher class, but I really do like Byron Murphy. That being said, we will continue with the defense, and I'm trying to decide if I go corner or linebacker, and both will not surprise either of y'all. Both are the two guys I've been talking about since. One I've been talking about since day one, and one I've kind of picked up the last month for some reason. We'll go with him. We'll go with TJ Tampa. I mean, this comes as no surprise with either of y'all. And I know I'm kind of, unlike the support I had shown for Byron Murphy, Matt specifically, I know you're not quite there on TJ Tampa. Ryan, I have not heard your opinions, but for those who don't know TJ Tampa, he is the corner. He went to Iowa State. I firmly believe he has CB1 size and length. He's 6'1", 6'2". His arm length is awesome. I think he has the ability to play the ball in the air very, very well. And that being said, I think he has the speed to close in when he's got shaken off of a route. But also, I love his ability to go up and attack the ball. I think I talked about it on the podcast. If you guys listened to the cornerback one, you guys shouldn't be surprised by this. But he's a dude who's going to feast when the ball is in the air. But he has loose enough hips that I feel confident that he can play both press or man. And one thing, too, that stood out on tape is like he will pull that trigger and he's going to break up those screens. His instinct is awesome. I think he has all the mix of a guy that will go in round 2, maybe early round 3, and will outplay his draft position. Again, he has the length, he has the size, he has the instinct. His hand fighting as well, and I'd rather have someone who overhand fights and teach him to cool it than the other way around. And he breaks on the ball. I'm a big fan of him. I think I had the internal conversation about him being CB4. He's not. He'll be CB5 for me. But again, you don't see guys often with his length, again, his ball skills, his ability to play both presser man and his instincts. I love TJ Tampa. This is no surprise though.
Matt?
Yeah, I mean it's a Ben classic. It's a height, weight, speed kind of corner, and I do agree with you. He has the overall size and length to be a boundary corner. The instincts, he looks stiff for his size at times. So that's why I'm not he's not as fluid as some of the guys in the class, especially the top 5 in my opinion.
Top 5. Who's your 5th out of curiosity?
I think it's still Kool-Aid. I think
still
it's
Kool-Aid.
Pretty,
okay.
Yeah, I still have it pretty chalky. Arnold, Mitchell, DeJean, Wiggins, yeah. Kool-Aid, and then after that, it's kind of a crapshoot. If TJ Tampa's your 6th guy, then I'm not going to sit there and kill you on it. If you believe you can teach him up and he gets there, but yeah, like you said, he's a height, weight, speed kind of guy, and I know those are your boundary corners you want.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that he's really, really good. I think that honestly, I'm bigger on other corners in this draft other than that. But once we started talking about him in the mock draft, I started doing a little bit more research on him, just so that I knew, okay, Ben's gonna mock this guy from time to time. I need to know what it is, And I mean, we're mock drafting him, in in what, like the first round at times.
Like, yeah, at times. So at times we have him going like 31, 32.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that might be a little high. But when it comes to that, yeah, he's gonna be good. I definitely think that we're looking at day 2. I think that this first round is just so like there's enough people in this first round to make it like a lot of guys are going to fall to the second round that would be first round talents in other drafts.
See,
right?
I'm not this draft as a whole, and I'm wondering where you're at with this one, Matt, as well. I think the top like 7-ish guys are awesome. And then maybe even the top 10 to 15 guys I'll say is awesome. But from like 16 to like 35, it is very like there's a nice big cluster of players.
For the corners?
Opinion. Just in general. The whole
I mean that's what it's gonna be. Like I think I've told you guys. It's just how the draft is gonna be because guys are gonna make the same amount of money staying for their senior year of college, so we're not gonna have an influx of juniors in day 3 anymore. So if it is what it is. It's going to be even more of a crapshoot. Yeah, it's already been like we already have a ton of graduates in this class. Like
it's wild. It is like the amount of 5th and 6th year players are.
Yeah, it's stunning.
It's weird. Ryan, who's your first guy?
So, okay.
I'm really hoping that someone here like just has a guy I absolutely hate. Like there's an offensive lineman that y'all know who I hate, and I'm really hoping he's on your list. Just so
I didn't. My thing is, do you want me to talk about somebody I've already talked about on the podcast before? Or
go. I had given
go through your list, man.
Yeah, go through.
I want to listen.
Yeah,
because all right, I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, so for you two specifically, my list is going to get like. It's going to start off kind of boring because we've talked about it off air. But for those of you that don't talk to us regularly, this is going to be it. So, yeah, Dallas Turner, obviously. He's my guy. And here's the thing, right? For Dallas Turner, it's to the point to where it's like, I don't care if he goes to the Bears or not. When it comes to my fandom of Dallas Turner, I know that he's going to be good. In my opinion, I think that's
a big statement.
that's just what I think. We basically you said that he was a little bit shorter, or not shorter, but smaller for his size, correct? Like
he's a little bit smaller, but it's ironic because he has the longest arms of the top 3 guys.
Right. So because of that, and keep in mind, like I have no like coaching experience for lines, so it's a little different for me as far as like what's good and what's not. But when I think of long arms, I'm thinking like, okay, that's a good trait to have if you're going to be explosive on the outside. And for somebody who's smaller, I feel like that's a little bit more agile. So because of that, with his acceleration and his speed, I really do think that where he was in 2022 compared to 2023 and the growth that we saw from that as well is going to translate well into the league once you go to pro coaches as well. Like I said, that speed is just awesome. Like I have so much fun watching this guy just because of his acceleration off the line. So, I mean, I'm really excited to see what he does in the league, but absolutely is my favorite edge rusher in this draft. And that's pretty much it that I haven't already covered on the show. So,
yeah, I mean, known Dallas Turner guy. Dallas Turner's my edge 3 personally. I think the top 3 guys are all pretty lumped close together in the battles there. And I know the guy underneath me here is definitely gonna have a lot of positive things to say about Dallas Turner. To me, I know we won't agree on this one. His size does scare me about his ability to drop the anchor in the run game against like the mauling left tackles of the world. Like I'm gonna outright say it, and maybe I'll get a reaction, maybe I won't. If it is Dallas Turner dropping his anchor versus like Fuaga trying to open up a path, I'm taking Fuaga 9 times out of 10. His ability to drop his anchor scares me a little bit just due to his size. And that's like the big thing for me is his ability to drop his anchor. He drops his feet. But like you said, I mean, the combination of like his speed and just his finesse is a lot of fun to watch. And if he can hone in on that, he can be really, really good.
Matt?
Yeah, his play strength got so much stronger in 2023, and that is the sign that I want to see from a young player. Just being able to, he's gonna grow into his body. You say he's a little leaner. He is, like, they have him put at 240. By season beginning, he could be 255. I really think he could put on weight like that, and. Because, I mean, there was rumors that he was playing at Alabama around 247 was the number I think I saw somewhere. He has freakish wingspan, freakish arm length. It's the only thing is the pass rush plan is still getting there. But watching, because I did today, watching the Texas game from 2022.
Oh gosh.
Compared to this year's LSU game where he stunningly took over the football game, it's a tale of two players. And I feel like any draft room can go, well, this is the player he was, and this is the player he's become. He continues to develop. He continues to get older. He continues to get stronger. We could develop him into this. And that is, I mean, that's his calling card. I mean, he's the highest ceiling by far. He could be the best edge in the class easily. It just
my mentality with it, right? And then I will let let's see, Ben, you're next, right? When it I think so, right?
Sure, I'll go next.
Because anyways, so my mentality with it is that if you're gonna put anybody right on the other side of Montez Sweat, let it be somebody that you can develop, so like you don't have to rely on him so much to get these sacks and be that difference maker, right? But if you develop him to the point where you can, then you have two difference makers on both sides of your defensive line, and to me that's like, holy crap, that's awesome.
Two one-on-one matchups, you know.
Exactly.
Someone's
so that's why I'm like, yeah, if we draft Dallas Turner, I'll be just as ecstatic as if we get I'll even say it. If we get like a Marvin Harrison Jr., I'll be just as excited if we get Dallas Turner.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's you love this guy. I can't be too surprised. You love this guy.
I love him so
I'll
much.
go. This guy's actually third on my list. I had another defensive player ahead of him, but I kind of want to jump the gun because I'm assuming me and Matt see eye to eye on this guy as we have throughout the entire process. I'm an A.D. Mitchell guy. Like this is no surprise. A.D. Mitchell is going to be my third guy on this list. Quite close to putting A.D. Mitchell at wide receiver 4 in this class. I'm not going to do it.
He is.
But I'm pretty darn close. And for those who don't know, like me and Matt are side by side. I'm sure he's on Matt's list, so I'm sure Matt can. Yeah.
I didn't even waste the time. I didn't even waste the time putting him on the list. I knew we would talk about him. I knew I could talk about him.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to jump the gun just in case you had him on the list. Again, he's 6'4", he's 196. He can move. The big issue with him, I know I said I was going to talk about cons, is just his effort or lack thereof. There are just many times on tape where he just doesn't care. And one thing that I did like, it's one of these weird, I don't want to call it a plus, but like there were many times on tape where he did not try and he still created separation and you were still threw him the ball. And it made me think to myself, like, oh my gosh, if this dude is 6'4" and tries every rep and runs as well as he can, he's a good route runner when he wants to be. He don't get me wrong, there's plenty of sloppy routes on tape, but again, that's due to the lack of his want and drive to actually do that. But when he wants to, he can run amazing routes. He can like put in effort. He gets out there and run blocks sometimes when he wants to, but when he knows he's not the first or second read, he's going to stop and he's going to be lazy. But again, there's not many guys in this class or in the NFL in general who's 6'4" and moves as well as he does. He creates after the catch. I absolutely love him. If your issue is effort, and that's the one thing people are talking about, you can get that fixed. I would not be surprised if I'm not saying he will be, but I would not be surprised if he like is the second best guy from this draft class looking back on it. Because again, there's just not guys with the size and speed that moves as well as he does. Period. Matt.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you said that I can't already say. The way he moves like a dancer. It's like Victor Cruz, the salsa. I mean, he moves in one fluid motion is from head to toe. It's so amazing, and the effort, and I think the effort stems from it was a Texas offense that was a lot of get the ball out quick, Xavier Worthy, things like that. Jordan Whittington, slot drags, all that stuff. So he knew when I'm third read, Quinn ain't looking my way, and so I'm gonna, I'm not gonna do those things. But the thing that got me is when that play against Kool-Aid McKinstry against Texas or against Alabama, when he just goes up and wins, and he let Kool-Aid McKinstry know about it. That guy cares, and it's a George Pickens syndrome. George Pickens could not go to the Bears in 2022, just as A.D. Mitchell can't go to the Cardinals. He needs to go to a contender where he's gonna care, he's gonna be competitive. That's kind of the way. So when he is the fourth receiver and on my board, he's probably the seventh on some other teams. It is what it is because the projection for him is so awkward. I think that's the word to say. But yeah.
Well, you guys heard the story, right?
9.99 RAS athlete.
Yes, he ran a 4.34, which is wild. I don't know and I'll let you get to what you're saying here in a moment, Ryan. This is gonna sound like a little crazy, but we've had the conversation about one-to-one player comparisons, but watching him, he reminds me of a faster Devontae Parker, a Devontae Parker that can actually separate a little bit. I'm a really, really big fan of him. I like.
So the most complete receiver ever.
So basically, there was a report that came out about A.D. Mitchell that basically said that he was uncoachable. Was one of the things. There was another thing that said, let's see, this was. One veteran scout said he blew that 40 out, which didn't surprise me, but then his position workout might have been the worst I've seen by a top receiver. He was falling over. He dropped balls. He just had to keep redoing it. It seemed as if he didn't know how to run routes. He just seemed out of it. Generally, the scout doesn't get alarmed by a combine, but that was alarming. They said that basically, for those of you that don't know, he is a diabetic. He's a type 1 diabetic. And basically, reports suggest that he doesn't consistently manage his condition as effectively as he could. And so somebody said, like, a father of a type 1 diabetic shared his thoughts on social media, emphasizing the challenges, and basically saying, like, he gets a little grumpy, to sum it up. And so because of that, it's just generally like, somebody said, like, another scout, by the way, said, before you even get to the diabetic part, he's kind of going to do it his way. He's a little bit of a wild horse. You've got to see if you can harness him in. Then once you do that, he doesn't address the diabetic stuff in a mature way. He's very much a boomer bust. So when you bring up the George Pickens, comp, like, it makes a lot of sense. But for those of you that at least didn't know that side of the story for him, I mean, that's why Matt's saying that, I'm sure that he, Matt, not to speak for you, but I'm sure that you probably saw that report. But I mean, it's just like, I'm taking this with a grain of salt, right? But at the same exact time,
we don't know these people's characters. We're just hearing it from someone else. That is why I don't like to speculate on characters at all. Like, I have one guy on here who I said he has character concerns. I listed what he did on the field in 2022, and I didn't go in. It's Jermaine Burton. That's who it is.
Talk about it.
Okay, all right.
I almost put him on my list, I'll be honest.
Yeah, Jermaine Burton is awesome. Some of the best tape in the class, period. What I have listed, he has a good burst of acceleration and launch speed, makes him the perfect candidate to be a fly down the field. Z, good route running, has quick feet and manipulates DB with his body control, elite and sticky hands with extended When extended far away from his frame, and he will come down the ball So Matt, what are you talking about? So he does everything good? Well, then we get into it. Off the field character concerns. All I put was he pushed a female fan walking off the field in Tennessee in 2022. That was the game where Tennessee won, and they took the goalposts and threw them in the like a lake or something.
Yeah,
if everyone remembers. I can't speak anymore. Haven't talked to the guy is the rest of my little tidbit there. Play strength is the biggest concern. I think it's one of those things like A.D. Mitchell, the play strength, the competitive toughness. You got to project it. You got to project those things, and those are some of the most important things in a football player. He's not a yak threat. He has the ability in him to get down the field as a yak threat, but he just doesn't force missed tackles at a very high rate. And he had real production problems. 4 years across 2 prestigious programs in Bama and Georgia. Never had more than 40 catches in a season. Never had more than 800 yards in a season. So, listen, this guy's not going to go before round 3. I doubt he goes round 3. It is all, if you like the character, if you're willing to live with it, then you take Jermaine Burton. Like the Bills, like the Chiefs, those prestigious programs who have Baltimore, who have culture set in place, they can take him and say, we'll figure it out, where most teams won't be able to. It is what it is, I would love to see him in Detroit. Detroit is really the spot that I awesome. I keep thinking in my head because, man, that I don't know. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you were saying, and I kind of forced you into talking about it there too. That's my bad.
It's okay.
But yeah, he has some of. It was funny. We had this conversation actually this past weekend. He's one of those wild cards that I have no idea what to do with because there's so much out there about the kind of person he is, and it is so hard to speculate on that kind of stuff because, as you said, we don't know.
They're human beings. They have bad days. Just as me and you have bad days.
Yes, exactly. So it's so hard to speculate on that kind of stuff when you hear all of these things that have come out about him and what people are saying about him. But like you were saying, he has some of the best tape. Like he has a top, I think I said top like 6 or 7 tape in the class. He will not be a top 6 or 7 wide receiver taken off the board because of those character concerns. But he has, again, some of the best tape in the class. To me, he's one of the biggest wild cards in this entire class. I could see him going somewhere and absolutely popping off, or I could see him going somewhere butting head with the coaches and flaming out. So it'll be really interesting to see where he ends up landing, like you were saying.
I'm going to go ahead, just because we're 45 minutes in, and name my next guy. So I'll be honest with you. I swapped it out. So my first guy that I was going to talk about was Troy Franklin. But I swapped it out just to be a little more, I like I said, this is going to be a little bland, and I'm sorry because I've talked about it, but I haven't talked about it as in depth as to why I love him so much. Rome Odunze, God, I love this guy. Like, please fall to Chicago. So okay, my first instinct when it comes down to Rome
I thought you were
Odunze's
talking
film,
about Troy Franklin.
No, I know. I was going to, but then I was like, screw it. Like, because I remember telling you guys, like, I only have one first round guy. But literally, like, Ben, you were talking about a wide receiver, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about Odunze because I want to. So Odunze, I mean, I was going to say it, but, PFF already nailed it on the head for me. They called him a supersized Chris Olave. Love that. So, basically, one of the things that I think is very attractive to me when I look at it from a Bears fan's perspective is that not only was he a wide receiver, but he was also a return specialist, right? And that's one of the things that the Bears lack. It's always something that when I go to training camp, that's something that the Bears are constantly trying out new guys for. And Rome Odunze was one of the returners for Washington. So, I definitely, now don't get me wrong, I understand Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors are over this guy. But one of the things that I am very impressed by, and I know, take it with a grain of salt, right? His work ethic is incredible. Like, you look at him at the combine, right? That was one of my favorite things to see. Is he was sitting there and he would not get up off the field until he got what he wanted on his test, and then even then he was still trying to work harder at it during his pro day. So it's like, this is exactly the type of player that you want when it comes down to character and work ethic, especially, you know, when you look at the type of people that he would potentially play with in Chicago. This is like, if in the scenario Arizona, the Chargers, and the Giants don't trade back or don't pick, literally, like, they would be stupid not to, if they're not considering something else, right? Like, if obviously that sounds so like a duh statement. I'm trying to think of like a better way to put it. Like, okay, so the Chargers, right? Like, they obviously have a need for a receiver, and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Nabers should be the first two names that they should think of, in my opinion. But Rome Odunze should be a close second behind Malik Nabers as far as their, what they're analyzing. When it comes down to that, though, if those top two guys are off the board, if I'm the Giants, I'm thinking about Rome Odunze immediately, just because of how much of a weapon he is and how much of a weapon the Giants lack. And I mean, I don't know. And if he's still on the board after 6, then just come to Chicago. Like, just fall in my lap, please. Screw the trade back and everything I've ever talked about. And this is, this is the guy. Other than obviously Dallas Turner, I'd be cool with too. But like, Rome Odunze, if he's there, pick him up, because this guy should be the guy. He's just really impressive. I really like his character. That, and him and Caleb kind of had a little moment at the combine too. I'm hoping that was kind of like a preview as to what to see later on. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I promise you, after Rome Odunze, this is going to get more interesting for you guys, just because these are guys that I've either briefly talked about or haven't talked to you guys about at all. So yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, in terms of Rome, man, like, this is gonna come off as like a oh, he doesn't like Rome. Like, Rome would have without like a shadow of a doubt would have been in his own tier if he would have came out last year. Obviously couldn't have. So this isn't like the fact that I think Rome's a bad player, but I like Rome, but I firmly believe Rome is in his own tier. I really think it is Marvin Harrison, Malik Nabers, a gap, and then Rome. Rome is awesome. Again, his work ethic, his size, I really think he will turn out and he will be a very good player. I'm not quite there where some people are at with Rome. I think 9 is a good spot for him, and obviously between 9 and 6, it's 3 picks, and people are like, is there really that much of a difference? No. But I think Rome is good, but for him to fully be utilized, he needs to go into a system in which a quarterback can throw a deep ball and over the shoulder ball. And I think that's when he's gonna be utilized the most. And that's what we saw Michael Penix do. And I think it's no surprise that this was his best year of tape, when he has a quarterback that can throw him those back over the shoulder balls. I like him, but I really do think there's a little bit of a gap between him and Nabers. But that is my opinion. That this isn't a bad thing. Again, I think he is wide receiver 1 in like probably 50% of the classes. He just so happened to come out in a class where like we have 2 of like the top 3 or 4 best wide receiver prospects that we've seen over the last like 10 years.
He's a my guy. He doesn't have to be a your guy.
No, I know. I'm not saying I'm saying
just saying you don't have to be as high on him as I am.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can still be high on him, but you don't have to be over the moon for him like I am.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Matt, any thoughts, or do you want to go ahead and move on to the next player?
I'm gonna steal the conversation. Rome Odunze is a top 10 player for me, but let's talk about Diet Coke Rome Odunze for a minute.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
Diet Coke Rome Odunze. I'm
wondering where he was going with that. I wonder if he was going with the UFC kid. I'm blanking on his name. Javante something. I don't know. Hopefully, Matt will be back here soon. It is just a connection issue with him. I'll go ahead and take it over. I'll go and do a guy that Matt would have been 100% aware is on my list. And at this point, pretty much everyone who's listening to the podcast is 100% aware is on my list. That's, in my opinion, linebacker 1 in this class. It's Peyton Wilson. Peyton Wilson does everything on the field, either at a good to an elite level. He's good in zone coverage. He reads the quarterback eyes very well. He fills holes in the run game very, very quickly. He has the speed to keep up with tight ends and slot receivers at short distance. He's a fluid mover. And again, his combine testing had proven that. He's played for a really long time, so his instinct of football knowledge is there. The one issue, and it is a very big issue, is that he does not have a good injury history. And I had joked with y'all that I am ready to learn a lesson from this draft class because him and Liatu Latu are my number one and like my number one at their positions. And I had joked that I'm ready to learn a lesson from this draft class when it comes to injuries. And usually if you're hurt in college, you're going to be hurt in the NFL. But his ability to do everything, again, at an elite to average level, everything on the field is so tantalizing. I think he needs to go to a team that is in that win now mode because he's older. I think he's 24. Because he's older and because he has that injuries, like, you don't want to bring him into this rebuild team that's going to take 4 to 5 years because by the time that he hits his prime and is coming out of it, you know, your rebuild's going to be complete and then you're no longer going to have a linebacker. So I think a team like the Eagles would be a perfect fit because they're ready to compete now and they need that signal caller here. But if you're the Panthers, you don't want to take this guy because by the time your team's ready, he's going to be long past his prime. But outside of his age and injury concern, he does everything very, very well. And I had been on the Peyton Wilson train basically since the draft has started like 3 months ago, before draft talk was even a thing. I absolutely love this guy. He's my number 2, my guy on this list. For a long time was number 1. I will go to war for Peyton Wilson. And that's what I'm going to say. I absolutely love this guy. I could talk hours about him, but
Matt,
we're almost an hour to the podcast. I'm not going to talk your guys' ear off about him. I'm sure you guys are sick and tired of me talking about him for 3 months. So, Matt,
Diet Coke Roma Dunze. Go.
Yeah, Google Chrome doesn't want you to learn about Jalen Polk. 8.85 RAS, 4.5 240, 159. 10 yard, 37 vert, 10.9 broad, 22 years old. Just a little back story on him. Ball tracking and his catch radius is elite with extremely strong and late hands. Remind you of someone? Play strength and physicality was a plus when watched the tape. Burst and twitch was surprise at his size. I think it was 6'1", 205. Remind you of someone? He has zone-beating tendencies with his eyes. He hasn't fully gotten there yet as a true manipulator in zone yet, but he'll get better. I bank on it. He has the inside-outside versatility as a Z and as a productive slot. 41% was spent in the slot this season, with 59 coming lined up on the outside. And then some cons, just as I do. Doesn't have the nuance in route running as a Rome does. But he has the foot speed to get better, and he just needs the upper body to kind of formulate what the bottom half is doing. Press coverage gives issues, but most players have that issue as a younger guy. You line him up as a Z, press coverage isn't that big of an issue. Long speed isn't eye-popping, but he got the job done. He had multiple 50-yard touchdowns this year flying down the field. The more and more I watch Jalen Polk, the more and more I think, yeah, 32 to the Chiefs would be a blast. And then Peter Schrager drops his mock this week and just completely takes my thing. But it is what it is. Jalen Polk, and maybe that's why I keep propping up Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors in comparative to Rome, because I think you can find a Rome Odunze, or at least, 80-85% of him in Jalen Polk later in the draft. But that's besides the point. Rome Odunze still awesome. I don't want Ryan to
He's
attack.
great.
That the thing that really stood out to me about Polk is his hands. The dude
He's
catches
so
everything
strong.
that's thrown to him.
So
It's like
strong.
1.6% drop rate or something like that.
It's
like
unreal.
his hands are very, very
I don't know who the wide receivers coach at Washington is, but I don't think he's gonna start giving Brian Hartline a run for his money. But we're gonna start circling Washington guys, and you're just gonna they just handle the jugs machine. They're just at the jugs machine every single day because all of these guys have such strong hands.
Yep.
Let me see if I can
Yeah.
double up to make this go a little faster. Let's talk about, you guys want an edge or a corner?
I'm sure our edge. Okay, let's be
I
honest.
bet you all three of us have this edge.
There's a guy that is in this class that all of us like on edge, which makes me mad because you guys need to stay away from my archetype of player.
Don't think it's the same edge, but
No.
Chop Robinson. So
Dang it.
No, different
it was
edge.
Chop.
I'm
Okay,
out.
okay.
I'm out
Okay.
on Chop.
I
don't
do have
like
Jonah Ellis at the bottom of the list, but besides the point.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Jonah is
That's
who
the
I
guy.
was. Yeah, Jonah who I. But we'll
right.
go for Chop. Talk about Chop.
Chop. Why I was drawn to Chop so easily was because
His
you'd
name.
watch him on
Pretty
tape
cool.
and you'd blink and then he's in the backfield. Like, it is unique one of one get off the line of scrimmage that I put literally looks like a glitch in the system how fast he explodes off the line and dips to show the elite bend through the tackle to get to the quarterback. He stems very well. Like, he doesn't let tackles know what he's doing. Most of the time, if he doesn't win off that initial get off, he does get stumped from time to time, but he's 21 years old. It's just, you're banking on the athleticism, you're banking on the traits, and he has the ability to convert speed to power. He ran 4.48 in the 40 at 254 pounds at the combine. I understand it's a fast track, whatever. And then he doesn't have a lot of snaps under his belt. Under 1,000 snaps, or 1,021 total snaps across 3 years. But in 2 years starting at Penn State, had a 20.9 pass rush win rate according to PFF, both 2022 and 2023. It's just, he's going to get there. I think it is true boom or bust. If you believe you have the developer to develop this guy, he could be unique. He could be what, the helmet scouts, he could be Micah Parsons. He really could be. He could be unreal. But at the same time, he could be just another guy where it doesn't work out, and you're going, oh, I'm trying to think of an edge who flamed out really fast. Like,
The former number one
think off the
overall
top of my
pick
head.
that was also an athlete and was a boomer bust.
I mean, he's still playing football. I'm trying to
He's still
think of a
playing
guy
football.
like, I think that could be a Chop. Like,
Vic
we could
Beasley?
see Chop in 2 years being on a different team. Hey, if he's Vic Beasley, he had a 16 sack season. So
He had one good season.
yeah,
of all.
I think
Yes.
that's a really good one because Vic Beasley tore up the combine. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm willing to be wrong on Chop Robinson is kind of the way I've landed on him. If I'm wrong, fine. I'm wrong on the guy who I literally was going, whoa, hold on. He's jumping off the screen. I'm fine with that. So
Yeah. No, as a guy who's usually really big on the Raz, I mean, as we've already established, I'm not the biggest guy on Chop, but I understand as to why people are. Again, he is an elite level athlete, and it's just a matter of, like you said, if he can start piecing that stuff together. And if
his
he can,
puzzle's harder than a lot of the other guys. His puzzle's a lot harder than Latu's.
Yes.
But
yeah, exactly.
You will
He
reap more
concerns me.
rewards.
Yeah, oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah, if they both hit their ceiling, Chop. If everyone in this class hits their ceiling, Chop is going to be the best edge. And we had just talked about Dallas Turner. I mean, so if everyone hits their ceiling, Chop is going to be the best edge in this class. I think all the potential there, all the the athleticism is there. The only thing he needs to do is learn how to freaking finish. 3 sacks, man. Yeah. That's the big thing. I don't want him in the first round. I wouldn't touch him in the first round for that reason, because he has not put it together. And I don't know why you have all of these traits and haven't been able to put it together. But again, if you can get him in the right room with the right person who can put it together, he's going to be scary.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't really have much else to say. You guys pretty much covered it about Chop. I mean, I don't know. Like, he's cool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what else to
I
say.
think I think the best segue here is going to be a guy that me and Ryan have both wanted to talk about. This guy is this guy's the top of my tier 2. I still have one tier 1 guy left, but we'll get to him, I'm sure. But this guy's the top of my tier 2. I don't know what it is, but every year I end up falling in love with a shorter, smaller edge rusher. Last year it was Herbig. This year it's going to be Jonah Ellis. I actually have Jonah Ellis ranked above Chop Robinson. Jonah Ellis is my edge 4. He comes from a long line of football players. His dad played in the NFL. He has 3 brothers that play in the NFL. That being said, I think he has the best chance to be the best of all of them. That's, again, not a huge statement to say because they are all NFL players. I don't want to speak bad on them, but they're all subpar, average players, I'll say. But that's besides the point. I think he has a chance to be the best of them. I think he gets off the ball very, very quickly. He has a good set of pass rush moves. One thing I really appreciate about him is his ability to flash a move, set it up in the first and second quarter, and then be like, oh, I'm going to flash this move, and then I'm going to get the offensive lineman to figure out that this is what I'm going to do, and then go ahead and counter that and set it up for the third and fourth quarter, which is really awesome. He runs a hot motor. He is always going. And for his size, he held up better against the run than I would have thought. I think if he was healthy, we would have had the conversation about him being in the first round. The big thing about him is his size and the issues that come with him being a smaller edge rusher. But I'm a big fan of him. Again, every year there's that smaller edge rusher that I end up falling in love with. I know, again, that he's on both of y'all's lists as well. So if anyone else wants to talk about some things I had missed about him.
The only thing that I want to add is I really want him to add a little bit more weight to him.
Yeah.
He's 246 pounds, and I mean, if he's able to do that, then he can get scary. That's really where I'm at with him. And not only that, but I mean, I don't know, he's almost everything that you want when it comes down to a college prospect and what he does at his position. I feel like if somebody waits on edge and drafts one in the second round, they could potentially be getting a steal out of Jonah Ellis. I'm huge on this guy. And I remember, I think it was the night before the scouting combine, I'm sitting there in bed and I literally just text the group chat hey, this Jonah Ellis guy is pretty cool. And Ben was like, no, screw you. That's my guy. Yeah, that hence the name of the segment. But yeah, Ben, you pretty much covered it. Here's the thing. So I know we're not going to be going over my guys much longer because we've been doing it for the last hour pretty much. So because of that, I'm going to skip a handful of guys that I was going to talk about and talk about somebody that because I mean, like I just said, Jonah Ellis was actually my next guy that I was going to talk about. But now, one that I'm especially this is just one guy that I am just super high on, and I know a lot of people aren't because he's projected as a PFF right now, a 4th round pick. So not a lot of people, but it's Malik Washington from Virginia. I love this guy so much. His hands are just so good. It's ridiculous. And my thing is this, I really like his burst right off the line. When it comes down to, I mean, PFF says that, he's got a little bit limited long speed. And one thing that I am a little concerned about is that he does have a shorter wingspan too. So
he's 5'8".
Judging him,
I was going to say it's a part of being small.
That's part of that for sure. That's the thing. But the thing is okay, for anybody that hasn't looked up Malik Washington, what he's able to do on you throw him in a 50-50 ball, right? Because he's got a few of those, it's actually pretty decent for somebody who is, like you just said, 5'8". But I mean, I'm just thoroughly impressed by him. And, just because, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, like PFF right now, it says will be tough for him to have a depth/special teams role with how ineffective he can be at blocking. Dude's 5'8". Like, he's a smaller receiver, so like when you go through this and you scout him, you're looking at a slot guy. I mean, it's a smaller guy that's quick and, I mean, has the burst to be able to get to where you need him to get to. And I am just absolutely, I had so much fun watching his film. So
yeah, he was the guy that was next up, was the guy that I wanted to throw on my list that I made sure that we had talked about. And he is the guy that I had mentioned before we had started the podcast, y'all. Honestly, Ryan, love you, buddy. You missed the best thing about him. He's a freaking yak machine.
Yes,
his ability to make plays and to pick up the extra yards. Like, he had like over 1,000 yards of yak or something, or something like close to it. Like this year alone, it is.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
It's absurd. Like, I had put in my notes, there are a lot of people that are gushing over Malachi Corley. If you like Malachi Corley, please go and watch Malik Washington, and you will be even more blown away, because he is just as effective with the ball in his hand. And while he is 5'8", he is a thick 5'8". I really appreciate, again, you had covered most of it. Again, he's explosive. He's a sudden athlete. His ability to make catches through contact. Obviously, he's 5'8". You're not going to want to throw him up a jump ball that you'd throw up to DeAndre Hopkins. But his ability to make tough catches through contact stood out to me for a guy that is his size. But again, when you're drafting him, you're just going to draft a playmaker. You might not always have a specific spot for him, but at a certain point, you just draft guys that can make plays, and he falls into that. Yeah. The hot take that I was going to have, I would be okay drafting him at the back end of round 1. And it's wild. But like, after seeing how well, and not obviously 100% the same, but after seeing how well Tank Dell was playing, Tank Dell has allowed me to open the door a little bit more on these smaller wide receivers. I would be okay with drafting him at the back end of round 2. I am in love with Malik Washington. I don't care. I like him. Again, that's why he's also my guy for me. I really, really, really enjoy Malik Washington.
But my thing is this: would you rather have Malik Washington over people that are available in the towards the end of the first round and second round? Because that's like,
I didn't say end of first round. I said end of second round, and it's really a mix.
You said first. You said
pretty
first.
Sure I said second.
Okay, good. Yeah, we both heard first. I almost fell.
Okay. If you guys both said first, all right. I might have said first. I definitely 100% meant
first
second.
First is.
I
love this guy.
First is wild. Second. I definitely meant to say second. If I had said first, I apologize.
No, you're good. Thank God you corrected that, because I was like, buddy, wait, hold on a minute.
No, I don't love him that much. If I love him that much, he'd definitely be in tier 1. No, back end of the second round. That is 100% my bad. I guess I got too carried away with how much I love this guy. Back end of the second round. That is my bad.
Yeah, I overall, I mean, this guy's just so much fun to watch. That, and like some things that I have seen in his film too is like after like he's able to break tackles pretty well as well. Like,
'cause he's thick.
It's pretty interesting for somebody as small to just. I mean, he's a bull, man. I'm excited to see where he goes.
He's a small. Like, I hate doing this comp because everyone does it when you have these yak guys, and it always is one of those things where I'm like, let's not do this.
Don't do it.
But he really, I'm doing it. He reminds me of Debo. I hate it. It makes me cringe. I hate it too. But he reminds me of a smaller Debo. And I'm not even I don't do it. But he's a yak monster. That is, and it's funny because Debo went in round 2. And not that he's going to be Debo. Again, he's smaller. He has more concerns than what Debo has. But again, his ability to just make plays after the play is or after the catch is wild. I love him.
All right.
Anyways.
Matt, I say, Matt, give us one more prospect before I talk briefly about some hot takes, and then after that, that'll be it, just because of timing.
Hey, Malik. Hey, Malik was your guy, pal.
I said Matt.
I
And then
know,
I'll-
but Malik was your guy. Matt's going to talk about someone, and I'm going to talk about someone.
Okay,
Anyways.
all right, my bad.
Well, I mean, yeah, I got so many guys here. I want to.
Or just like quickly run through some of them. Instead of going into depth, quickly run through a couple of them.
I can't do that. I'll talk about DBs for a minute. I'll run through the DBs I have. I have Terry and Arnold on here, versatile DB, boundary corner, ball production, twitchy athlete. Number 2, Cooper DeJean, versatile athlete, versatile DB, can play whatever he wants. Boundaries, nickel, safety. The reason you hear he's a safety is because he's the best tackling DB in the class, has return value. Next, we get into another DB. I'll just run through all my DBs.
Yes.
Renardo Green out of Florida State. He has some of the best short area quickness in the draft. He gets handsy, and it's going to get him in trouble in the NFL. He needs to... It's a good and bad thing. He's super aggressive at the point of attack, at the catch point, led to great PBU production, but was he too aggressive? He will get flagged at the next level. Jalen Simpson out of Auburn, super underrated athlete. 4.45 40, 39.5 vert, 11.1 broad with 32 and 3/8 inch arms. That's insane, but he's 179 pounds. I understand why people aren't going to like him. Versatile, can play whatever. Max Melton, kind of the same thing. Brother of Bo, who I was a huge fan of. It's the competitive toughness, the high motor. It's just, I'm a sucker for those things. They both kind of are in the same Nickelback range that,
Love that
not the band, but play them close to the line of scrimmage. They can mirror anybody. They would destroy Malik Washington. That's kind of all the DBs. And then the last one I want to talk about, one of my favorite players in the class, Dominique Hampton out of Washington.
Wow.
The backstory of Dominique Hampton, I'm a sucker for these backstories. He came to the program, came to Washington in 2018. He stuck it out. He is a 6th-year senior for Washington, and he sat behind DBs like Byron Murphy with the Vikings, Taylor Rapp with the Bills, Elijah Molden with the Titans, Kyler Gordon with the Bears, and Trent McDuffie, my guy, with the Chiefs. He is an elite DB with elite size, speed, and length combo. He is 6'2", 215, runs low 4.5s. Very high football IQ. The way he floated around the defense, everyone says, well, he doesn't have a positional home. It's because he can play every damn position. You've put him somewhere, and he's going to be a great football player. He's a strong and physical hitter in space. And then the underrated part, just like people gush over Leggett with South Carolina playing all those special team snaps, Hampton played 557 career special team snaps, and he stayed in one place, Washington. That is loyalty. He has his issues. He's undisciplined in man, has ball skills, but he didn't create elite production. He's going to be 24 as a rookie, but he's a really darn good football player, and I want that guy on my team. So those are all the DBs. I have a ton more guys. I'd probably float a link of the rest of the guys in this description if people are interested in reading the other guys. I have like Audric Estime and let me see. Who else? I ran through a lot of Marius Mims is on here, Michael Hall, Darius Robinson.
Michael Hall was the one who I was looking forward to hearing the most. So I was disappointed we could not have talked about him, but it's, I'm looking forward. Yeah, I'm looking forward to speaking to you after the pod and to continue the conversation. The big guy that I want to talk about in terms of the biggest difference between how consensus views him versus how I view him is my last guy in tier 1. It's Trevor Wallace. Some people have him going like 6th, 7th undrafted range. I am much higher on him. I really, really enjoyed watching his film. Like you had joked about the Kentucky guys being on like the honorable mentions.
The honorable mention, yep.
But I really, really like Trevor Wallace. He's a sure tackler. He has good acceleration to play in a zone defense. His ability to play sideline to sideline, which is a term that we usually use for safeties, is awesome. He's just a smooth mover, smooth hips, is fast enough. I think he closes in on the catch very quickly, and he hits like a freaking heat-seeking missile. There's a lot of fun, and then on top of that, he has long arms, allows him to take on blockers very, very well in the run game. Again, there's some route recognition issues in his ability to play with man. We'll see, but I think he has the athleticism to do it. It's just a matter of getting into a nice room where he can learn and sit behind some guys. Then real quick, I'm not going to go super in depth with the last guys that we hadn't talked about, but I only have like 4 or 5. It's Kalen Carson out of Wake Forest. I'm also another big fan of him. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes round 2. I was really disappointed that we weren't able to see him test, but I liked Kalen Carson. People just don't talk about him. He kind of just gets lost in that like day 2 cornerback range. No surprise, I had to get a Michigan guy on here. It's Mike Sanders still. He's awesome. He's just very aggressive. Yeah, he's very aggressive, very competitive. He has really good instinct that stems from him playing wide receiver at first. He played wide receiver the first 2 years, transitioned to DB. He's going to come up in the run game. He's going to hit people, but he also has good instincts, fluid hips. It's just a matter of him. He has to get more snaps there at DB. And then I'm going to absolutely butcher his name. So we are going to say the linebacker out of Notre Dame because I do not want to try to pronounce his name. I don't know if I should try. I'm not going to. But there's a linebacker out of Notre Dame. He has a like a Hawaiian name. It is very Hawaiian. I do not want to try to pronounce it out of just respect for him. I'd rather just not say it at all. But he's going to be a nice one of those like star linebackers. Like he's going to be that little in-between guy. He's going to probably just be your box safety, I guess, is what he's probably going to be relegated to. But he just has a high motor. He's there. He takes on blocks very well. At the bare minimum, I think he's going to be a really, really good special teams player. And then overall, I wanted to just talk about a tight end really quick because I think that is the most or I think this is like that's the worst position in this draft. Just the guys that lack the top guys outside of ours. That's Ben Sinnett. A lot of people have like picked up on him recently, but he has good size. It's not like an elite size, but he has good size with nice short area quickness and consistent hands. I think he has the size to be able to block in line. And then also you just get like he can play fullback. He played a lot of fullback as well. It's always fun to just have these fullback tight end hybrids. But yeah, again, he's just a tight end that I feel like can do it all. Block in line, can catch very well, has consistent hands, and is a good athlete. I wish I could have had more time to talk about Ben Sinnett. And then just an honorable mention, which I'm sad you didn't have him on your list, was Kyrie Jackson. But he's just another one of those big corners. So.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and go into my bold takes just because – I don't know. This is the last time we will have an episode until the actual draft. So, I mean, it's time for at least me, unless you guys have any bold takes.
I can make a bold take on the fly. I can make a fine one. I can make one.
have 2.
They're not hard to do. You just say something crazy and then
see if it happens.
Right? Yeah, clip it, right?
I would say neighbors or Odunze, they'll not be there at 9. That's not very bold.
No, I would be surprised.
So that's not it. The biggest one, it says neighbors or Odunze. So, like, I don't think either one will be there at 9. I think both of them will be taken.
So neighbors and Odunze will both be gone, is what you're saying.
Sure. Yeah. My bad.
Okay, you worded that a little funky. I was a little confused there.
But it's been a long day.
Yeah, you're all good.
And then my last one, my other one, this is probably the most interesting because it goes against literally every report there is out there except for one that I saw recently. I don't think Minnesota is going to be able to trade up. I don't think they're going to. I don't think the GM is going to make that move. I don't think so. I think because Minnesota is trying to preserve their extra first round pick other than, their own. So they're trying to move up from 11 without giving away, 23? So they'd still they would still like 2 first round picks this year's draft, and I just don't see it happening. I don't think so. And the main reason is I think they're going to be outbid by another quarterback desperate team, and that would be Denver. I think Denver is going to trade up and take that.
Okay. So to push back, I guess on that, Denver's not. If they fall in love with a quarterback,
Denver's not in a spot to move.
That's what I'm saying. Like if Minnesota falls in love with a quarterback, cough JJ, which I assuming that they did is the reason they picked up that extra first round pick. They are just going to be able to offer more than what Denver is going to, just point blank period. To be able to say we will give you 2 first round picks this class is a luxury that basically I think it's only them and Green Bay have. And obviously Green Bay is not going to trade up to get a quarterback unless something changes from now to Thursday, which I 100% will. I mean, let's be honest. The reason I'm pushing back on that take is Minnesota would not have picked up that extra first round pick if they didn't plan on trading it. I don't think. We'll see. I think there is definitely a path where they do fall in love with a Bo Nix or Michael Penix, and they stay and take someone for Brian Flores, and then takes whoever it is with 23. But I think it just makes more sense. It's again, you don't often usually see a team trade up to get that extra first round pick just to stay there and pick with that extra first round pick. That's my big, I guess, issue with it all. It just doesn't make any sense for them to get that extra first round pick if they didn't plan on using it.
Matt, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, kind of stemming from the same way. I don't think roster ability Denver's in a spot to they need good players. And I think giving up 3 first round picks, because I imagine if you want to outbid Minnesota, you have to put in this year's, next year's, and the year after's.
Pat Surtain is the main piece that gets moved.
He will not be moved. He will not be moved.
He won't be moved. I'll give you 22 for him, but he won't be moved.
I think that, they have he won't be moved. He's too good of a player. He's best CB in the league.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know.
I disagree. Best quarterback in the league was number 1 right now. So.
Oh my God! You don't believe that?
He's him.
Do you wait? That's your hot take, if anything.
Yeah.
That Jalen Johnson's best corner in the league. You don't believe that, do you actually?
That is
I do.
You actually? Okay. Wow, that's the hot take. If anything, if you firmly. I wonder how much of this actually stems from Bears bias, or your unconscious bias for Bears. Pat Surtain, I think unequivocally is the best corner in the NFL. That's my opinion, but that's
J.C. Horn
for the
offseason. Before him. That's so funny to think about.
J.C. Horn has it, man. I want the Eagles. I'll take my 4th round pick.
He's not
take
good.
J.C. Horn. He's hurt. It's not that he's not good. He's just hurt. I'll take
scheduled tweet. J.C. Horn is hurt.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me do a take on the fly. How do I do this?
Yeah. Join in on the fun, please.
On draft night, Thursday, April 25th, Drake May will be the 4th quarterback taken. That's how you do it.
4th? You said 4th?
The 4th. Caleb will go 1.
After we have had conversation,
Jaden Daniels will go 2. JJ McCarthy will go 3. That is my hot take.
Wow.
I'm buying it. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid that everyone
Does that
loves
mean the Bears?
JJ McCarthy.
Did the Bears get less hate for the Patrick Mahomes thing if somebody passes up on Drake May and Drake May's good? Because we could just point the finger at them and be like, "You're not alone."
It'd be ironic because Drake May is UNC wearing 10.
UNC, yeah.
So it'd be the opposite.
Oh, okay. Well, let's end that debate now.
No, God, no.
Listen, I don't think anyone should, but
Yes.
I do believe someone is going to drink the Kool-Aid that JJ McCarthy is 21 years old. He's a professional. He's an old school point guard, and he's gonna be able to run a productive offense. And Drake May is a project. He's the sixth best quarterback, Chris Sims said. So
it makes me. It makes me. I'm a Michigan guy. I mean, look at the flag hanging behind my shoulders. And for the most part, I was saying that JJ was better than like people are giving him credit for it, but it's gone too far. I'm at the point now that like I would rather stay at 11 or 12 and get Bo Nix than I would trade 2 to 3 first-round picks for JJ McCarthy. I like JJ, but I don't think
that's like anybody. Trading 2 first-round picks for the fourth quarterback in any class is a reach.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it just I like JJ. I think JJ JJ has like
God,
two
what
sides
if he's the
to him.
best in the class?
You're either JJ, yeah. You either have like two sides to him. You either absolutely love him, and you're like, what is this?
That's not true. That's not true. I am indifferent on JJ McCarthy.
You might be the only person in the entire world that's indifferent on JJ McCarthy.
I am. If someone takes him top 5, I completely get it. He
has all the tools, right? I mean,
it's like, just Minnesota giving up both first-round picks. I can't get there, but like,
yeah, that's where it gets tough. I mean, he has all the tools.
New York at 6, I'd do it.
New York at 6 would be that'd be. As a Michigan fan, I'd cry to see that happen, just because like we've said in the podcast before, like you've said, JJ needs to go to a place that has a plan for him, and
Brian Dable is a plan.
Brian Dable, what is
Kevin
his plan?
O'Connell is a plan.
Slot wide receivers.
God, dude, the Giants are so dumb. How about that?
For the Giants to throw.
Hey, they got Brian Burns.
Darren Waller might not even freaking play football next year.
Dumb Giants.
And neither will JJ McCarthy. You know,
right. Who's he gonna throw to? Jalen Hyatt? Like, who was
Josh Allen throwing to in 2018?
Troy Franklin.
In 2018. What?
2018? I thought you were saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Brian Dable inherited Josh Allen in 2018.
Yes, but Josh Allen and JJ McCarthy are not the same though, right? Like the big thing with Josh Allen was
it's the same. It's the same development pattern, right?
I guess I get what you're saying, but they're just not. My issue is they're not this like. We still see it now. I mean, Josh Allen is your big game hunter. Like he's gonna do some stupid things at times, and that's the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Like JJ is gonna do everything in his
professional.
He's a professional. He's a point guard. He's not gonna make
old school point guard. Don't forget that part.
Super efficient on third downs though, JJ. Like
he can't throw to his left though. Have you seen that stat? He can't throw to his left.
Hey, Michael Jordan didn't have a left hand.
All right. That's enough of that. Don't you insult my goat.
We're done. We done with the
guys.
90s.
This is getting, this is getting out of control, guys.
Matt, thank you for coming on the show, man. That's what I gotta say.
Wait. Before Matt disappears, we had spent a lot of time on my guys. Matt, just like really quickly, you don't have to say why, and obviously we hope every young man in the draft succeeds, and we never want to play on people's downfall. There were a couple guys that you're lower on. Don't go into like why just due to time, but like just throw out some guys that you may be lower on than consensus.
JJ McCarthy, that's mine.
I'm trying to think.
I'll throw mine out here as you are thinking. I have 4 guys on my list. This is just basically half the guys on my list are from Oregon, and it has nothing to do with Oregon. But J.C. Latham, I had broke why I don't like J.C. Latham down last week's pod. Go and listen to that. Bucky Irving, a dude that small should be able to test better if you are going to be a pass-catching back. Just draft Will Shipley instead. Chop Robinson. Yeah. Chop Robinson, I had talked about, not that I think Chop Robinson's bad, I just wouldn't touch him in the first round. And then Troy Franklin, I'm not a Troy Franklin guy. For a dude who's a deep threat, you need to run faster. It's kind of like the same thing with Bucky, ironically. But like, you should run faster because you're skinny and you're not going to win your jump balls. So the only way that you're going to create separation is going to be by your long speed, and you don't have this amazing long speed. So I'm not big Troy Franklin. I know a lot of people do like him. I'm just not. I can't get there with him. Those are my four: JC, Latham, Bucky, Irving, Troy Franklin, and Chopper Robinson.
All right, Matt. Any closing comments before we're about to end in the show?
Any closing comments?
Oh yes, your players. I'm sorry, jumping ahead of the game. I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah, I could name players I think are gonna fail.
That was not the question. I want the jury to know that was not the question. Was lower on consensus.
Oh,
I want that
sorry.
to be noted, y'all.
Sorry, my bad. I like Brian Thomas Jr. is probably the number one guy for me.
Can't play against zone.
I can't get there. Like the Raz is awesome. Yeah, he runs fast, but like he's in an X body, but like he's like a 6 foot. Like his soul is 6 foot 190, and so he only had 13 contested targets this year at 6'4", 210. Like I can't get there with him as the fourth best receiver, top 20 player. Just take him and he'll be an X for you. I can't do it. Ricky Pearsall's another one. Like, he's a good player. He has really good hands. That catch against Charlotte is awesome. He's not a top 50 player for me, where everyone else, it seems it's just decided. Like, I'd take Leggett over him still, easily. Kind of in that range. It'd be a toss-up between him and Corley. And then another guy. Who is the other guy I had him marked? Oh, Guyton. Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the OU, the way they just develop there, but he's like Anton Harrison. Like, he's not a top 30 player. He shouldn't go in the first round. And there are five easily better tackles that he's 100%. Not even in the conversation. He's in that second tier. Kingsley Suamataia, Karan Almangaya, something like that.
Almangaya, yeah.
He's in that tier, but I wouldn't touch him in the top 35, 40. So those are the guys that I'm lower on.
Yeah.
That's the way to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, obviously shout out to Matt and Bustworthy podcast if you're or the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, the YouTube channel's popping.
Yeah, Matt's uploading on there, so if you guys are listening and you haven't heard of Matt, where can they find you, brother?
You can find me at where you said it, MHart NFL or FB. I just have FB. Football now because I like college football more than the NFL. Yeah. So I that's where it is. And then I will put up my whole my guys list in case someone wants to. I'll send you guys the link. You could put it in the description if you guys want to read it either. For the Medium page, just where I'll write articles. I'll write favorite fits after the draft. I already have an idea of that. The Busworthy YouTube channel, always making mock drafts, except I haven't made a mock draft in like a month. Lazy. But, yeah, that's where you can find me. And always willing to talk ball no matter who it is.
Yeah, so underneath our name tags here, guys, for me and Ryan, is our Twitter @. But I'm sure if you look up Big Draft Guy on Twitter, sure Matt will pop up.
Yeah. I'm a huge draft guy, and So
I just want to say thanks again for popping on. Matt, stay in the studio afterwards if you can. And then all right, Matt, thank you very much. So without further ado, Ben, any other closing comments that I might not have hit on?
Like we had said, we will not have an episode on. We will most likely not have an episode on Wednesday. Don't plan on it. The plan is to not have an episode on Wednesday. The plan is to do a draft live stream on Thursday. Tune in for that. again, that's what we're going with. That's what we're gonna tell you guys. There's a small chance will play or plans will change, but we will let you guys know if that is the case. But yes, we would really enjoy if you guys decided to pick and watch the draft with us. We know there's a whole bunch of different kind of streams out there that you guys can watch, but we would appreciate it if you guys had chosen to watch the draft with us, and we look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday.
Yes, yeah, very much so. Enjoy the draft. If you guys are listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and you guys aren't planning on watching the show, enjoy it. It's going to be an awesome draft. I truly do believe this is going to be a generational draft. Other than that, we want to say thank you to Spotify for Podcasters, Uppercuts Grooming, and Regional Radio Sports Network for helping us grow as a podcast. Hoping to see some more of you guys on the show, actually. So if you guys are interested, shoot us a DM on any of our socials, but give us a follow there, because we're going to try our hardest to update you guys, especially with the one that I'm pointing to right now, which is Twitter. Just because if anything were to change, I would post it there.
Yep.
Without further ado, this has been episode 109 of the Pigskin Project, and we'll see you guys next time.